All right, so I was listening to a live stream yesterday, and they had it falling into a topic of like anti-aging, and I want to actually talk about this real quick because the speaker was speaking on how he protects himself from the sun by adding a SPF, which is basically a sunblocker. You know what I'm saying? I made a video a while back on who would consent to blocking the sun, because there was a lot of theories online that people were talking about the government is trying to block the sun due to environmental factors like global warming, bunch of crazy nonsense, you know what I'm saying? And aside from that, they were talking about you know, it's bad for your skin because of the high radiation that's coming out. And I also made another video that spoke on basically the sun does not cause skin cancer, okay? Where it's other factors that come into play. So I'm going to link those two videos in the description of this video below. But let's get into this this little myth that people talk about the sun causes aging. And when you look on Google, that's a lot of what you will find. And it's aggressively put everywhere as far as to the sun causing cancer, okay? And aside from that, also causing your skin to age. Okay, now I've been out in sunlight, let's say, and I'm a Hispanic male, more than 8 hours almost every day. Okay, and the whole thing is, whether it be gardening, whether it be bike riding, whether it be skating, whether it be just running or walking or whatever it may be, I'm a very outdoorsy type of person, even hiking and whatnot. And one thing that you'll notice is this: I garden, I have plants. There's certain plants that are not categorized as being sun hardy. So I buy Pachira aquaticas, which are basically money trees. And when you buy them, they are always, they always have instructions to say to keep them in indirect sunlight. So what I usually do is I put it out in direct sunlight. Now I'll notice that the leaves basically end up getting scorched. They turn white. They lose all their green color, and eventually end up falling off. So at this stage, what I actually do is I take it away from the direct sunlight and put it in shade for a certain period of time for the plant to recover, and then eventually put it right back out in direct sunlight, where these new leaves, you'll be surprised to know that they all of a sudden can handle direct sunlight. And I'm talking about more than 8 hours of sunlight, where I have these trees outside right now, the Pachira aquaticas, and even bamboo trees, the little bamboo sticks that are considered a money plant as well. Yeah, they look like dried up white. The leaves turned white, and they turned out to look like white sticks. They look like they were dead. So what I do is I put it in indirect sunlight afterwards and did the same method. The new leaves that came out got a little scorched again, did the same method again until I reintroduced it back into sunlight, and it became sun hardy. Now I have these bamboo sticks and these Pachira aquaticas in direct sunlight. Not only that, but you'll notice that house plants, my mom has a Pachira aquatica, and I notice when I go to her house, her leaves are green and they're beautiful, but they're softer, a lot more delicate, where the sticks need actually the new growth, where Pachira aquaticas grow long and tall. I have to actually help her and put some bamboo sticks and help support the vines or the canes, whatever you want to call them, because they're easily prone to breaking, and the leaves are very frail. They look nice, but they're very delicate. They feel like thin paper, where when you touch them, they feel like they'll break easily. Okay? And she has it next to the window. Now, a couple of things are happening here. This plant is not exposed to winds or direct sunlight, where when it's out in nature, what happens is that the sunlight actually makes these leaves a lot tougher, a lot harder, but they're actually very beautiful, and they have a darker green color to them, not this little lighter limeish green color to them, right? And aside from that, the canes that grow out of my Pachira aquatica are very fucking strong. Like, they feel like tough wood, where hers feel like they're just flimsy. Why? Because the plant toughens up with the actual wind that's actually hitting the trees, sometimes even heavy rainfall or whatnot, right? So I want you to look at this carefully. You, for example, are like a plant. Notice how if you're indoors all winter and you're not exposed to sunlight, and you go out in direct sunlight when the weather gets nice and you don't build a base, you get sunburn, right? So when you get sunburn, what do? You actually stay away from the sun for a little period of time to actually help you with your skin recovering, right? Now, when you basically heal, you go back out in direct sunlight and you'll notice that you can withstand the sun a little bit more. You get what I'm saying? Now, when you're out in sunlight, this is actually helping your D3 production on the skin, which is actually a hormone. This is actually part of your the functions of your endocrine system. Okay, so when you look at, for example, let's go back all the way to the pituitary gland, which actually governs the adrenal glands, which in kind is what's responsible for everything else working in the body, including your endocrine system, your autonomic nervous system, and how you process and eliminate waste from your lymphatic system. Okay, so your lymphatic system actually being able to eliminate waste properly due to bacteria in the body, then you can actually be able to eliminate waste more appropriately. Okay, now here's the thing. A lot of people go out in sunlight, right? And when you go out in sunlight, the appropriate thing to do would be to not shower right away. You get what I'm saying? Do you notice how when you go out in sunlight and you actually shower, your skin actually looks to appear dry? So what do you want to do? You actually want to apply moisturizer to prevent you from peeling, but also prevent you from getting wrinkles. And this is the indoctrination that you've been told for a long time. The actual thing to do would be to basically, for one, be on a proper biologically appropriate diet, because when you go out in sunlight, when you sweat, you will actually, from your pores, whatever you're eating is what's going to come out of your pores. So if you're eating acids and garbage or certain oils that don't belong in there, then you're going to burn. Okay? And these are acids coming out the skin, and that's why you tend to actually develop something called skin cancer. Okay? If you're eating things like mangoes, grapes, papayas, these things, grapes are watermelons, phenomenal, right? Or even healthy fats. Let's say if you want to go into the healthy fat category, such as like, avocados and whatnot, you got to keep these things to a minimum. But avocados, certain nuts after you soak them, even certain beans, like certain type of proteins like that after you soak them are actually very beneficial for you, right? Certain veggies, which actually are building foods, but I'm not going to get into how the order and structure to take these, because the thing is that you would have to detox your body first and control that catabolic phase before you go into the building process of certain foods like bananas. That's why bodybuilders eat bananas after you work out, because they're actually a building food. They're a muscle fruit, right? And if you look at bananas, when they age, they're the only fruit that can actually get better on your counter when they ripen, right? They actually become healthier for you. But you'll notice that you get these little black spots on them. When old people start to age, you'll see that they get these little black spots on them, right? So this is kind of like mimicking sort of a melanin thing happening there, where when you eat these bananas, they're actually very good for your skin in your aging process, because when you ripen into a more sweeter, delicious type of older, wiser individual, not a stale, salty, sour, old-ass fuck. You get what I'm saying? So that's why bananas are very good. But before you do these bananas, you want to control the catabolic phase, which is eliminating waste and garbage that you probably have been eating, right? So you control it through water foods, right? Certain fasting periods are very good, because you allow also the healthy bacteria in your body to basically reset itself, and then whatever parasites or gut yeast or anything that you've been housing in your body due to what you've been eating will actually starve and actually come out. You don't really have to work too hard at purging, with aggressive cleansers and whatnot. They'll just come out of your body because you starve them. It's just like when you don't pay attention to, bullshit ass people outside of you, that tend to fall out of your life. Or mainly and foremost, when you change yourself, your environment tends to change with it, right? So the same way, when you change the environment in your body, then your body becomes more harmonious, and it actually starts to, you start to get more of the favorable workers in your body to work for you, right? So here's how it works with the detox process that we've been talking about. I'm gonna make a separate video so it doesn't get crazy, okay? Because I want to talk about the aging process here momentarily. So when you look at babies, right? Babies, they come out of the womb And their skin is all plumpy, beautiful and whatnot, but when they're in the womb of their mom, they're all water. And then as you get older, you start to become more solid, more stiff, more rigid, but because of these dehydrating foods you eat. So basically, that's where the concept of you are what you eat actually comes into play. You lose flexibility, but also your mindset changes. So you have to understand, this is why in the Bible it says to enter the kingdom of heaven, you have to be childlike, but not childish. It's more being childlike, and children are open-minded. So you're able to receive information, but you're also able to eliminate waste a lot more efficiently because you have an open channel. When I have a closed hand, I'm only closed-minded and I'm holding on to my information called a belief system. So I'm not able to receive anything from you, but I'm also not able to give nothing. So it's like you not being able to poop or take a shit, right? So this is why it's important to be open-minded and also be malleable. Let things flow, take the nutrients and expel the waste. This is how you let energy flow. So for example, because this goes on a spiritual level and it goes on a physical level. When you go outside and you hear this practice called grounding, okay, because everything is energy outside of you. And when you go outside and you plant the soles of your feet on the soil, there's something called negative ions that you're taking in, and you're giving off positive ions, right? Now, when you have negative emotions such as hatred, grudges, anger, greed, all this bullshit, whatever, lust, I mean, it's not in a balanced state. What can you do? You can actually plant your feet on the soil, on the soil, right? The soles of your feet, and what you take in, negative ions, but you can give back to the earth, right? These negative emotions, but you're also receiving the sunlight up above. There's a symbiotic thing going on here. As I said, as above, so below. When you look at a tree, you got the root systems. The root systems being strong, right? They depend on the tree to bring them the nutrient, the energy and the sugars and the beautiful nutrients from the sunlight, which is called life force, down to the root systems, because the root systems do not survive above ground. They belong underground, right? In certain conditions. And in kind, those roots are giving back the tree the nutrients from underneath. So there's a symbiotic relationship happening here, and it's all possible through a mycelium network, which I've mentioned in many previous videos before. So when you're able to go out and look at the sun as something that's organic and something that you can actually consume and actually even help you detox to some extent, because if you look at it, I do iridology, right? And your eyes map out your entire body, where certain portions are certain. It's like when you do trigger point therapy in your back. When you hit a certain trigger point, you're like, oh shit. Or reflexology, you hit certain areas in your hand or your feet and it actually stimulates certain organs in your body. This is exactly what happens with the eyes as well. So when you are able to look at the sunlight, you are actually bringing in and this is sun gazing. You don't look directly at the sun. You can kind of gaze at it, and you can get better and better at this. But if you do it particularly in the morning or when the sun is rising or at sunset where the rays aren't so strong, then this is actually very beneficial, because you're allowing, what do you do when you have vampires or parasites that you don't want in there? They tend to disintegrate when you let the sunlight in, right? Like vampires can't survive in sunlight. They need to be in the darkness, right? So this is why it's kind of like opening up the blinds and you clean the house, you open up the blinds, what happens? You feel a more refreshing energy in the house, right? So when you clean your house with, using food as medicine or even practicing certain fasting and breathing techniques, then you can actually allow the sunlight into your eyes. It's kind of like opening the blinds. The energy changes. It's like a beautiful chemistry that now you feel within you, and your external environment starts to change. You see things a lot clearer, a lot more beautiful to some extent. Things don't bother you as much because now you're a balanced individual. You get what I'm saying? You develop thicker skin as well. That's why they say you have thick skin, where you don't let things penetrate you, because this is the armor of God. But you also see everything outside of you is you. The sun is you. I've made many videos on this, right? So when you look at the sun and you look at the sun as something negative that's trying to hurt you, you are creating this with your mind as well. But don't forget, aside from the mind and mental thing, which the mind is all, the universe is mental, this is all you inverted inside out. The sun wouldn't even be there if you didn't collapse it into existence, if you want to even go into the deepest layer of this topic, right? So when you're looking at certain theories online. They're trying to block out the sun. Why would they do something like this? They're not really doing anything. You do that the moment you put sunblock on your skin. See, if you're in a green or in resonance with the fact that diet, exercise, proper breathing, minimal stress levels in the body actually can help you with the anti-aging process, right? Then what makes you think that what you put on your skin wouldn't matter, when what you put on your skin, you're actually eating through the skin. You're eating through the skin the same way. So you wouldn't put sunblock and consume it in your mouth, would you? So why would you apply that to the skin? Now, the foods that you eat, right, when they're in harmony with nature, or they're a biologically appropriate diet where you can go outside and actually interact with that chemistry now. Because if you put rotten meat outside, if you put meat outside, it'll rot under the sun. But when you have plants and they have fruits and whatnot, this is actually something that enjoys the sunlight. It's enjoying the chemistry outside, right? So this is why animals, such as like cats, dogs, and whatnot, they are actually built a little bit different, right? So they can actually, they're omnivores, but if they're on a high protein animal diet, right, they're not like us, where we depend on sunlight outside of us to actually keep us younger and healthier. They depend on it through diet, which I'm gonna make a separate video on, you know, how your digestive tract is built, and, you know, even the eating process is looked at all wrong and inverted. Okay, but the anti-aging thing comes down to a spiritual and a physical experience. Okay, because when you have negative thoughts, negative emotions, and all this, it's like you're like a candle, like a lantern, or like a lighthouse. You know what I'm saying? You can see this through your eyes. You can see this through your aura. You know what I'm saying? And this is why it's important to be mindful of your thoughts, in a sense where when you go outside, you can give this to nature. Where I've made videos on like the order in which like things are processed. For example, if you technically are eating a biologically appropriate diet, you poop, give it to the soil in kind, right, gives you back food, because your shit should be a fertilizer for the soil. But if you're eating pharmaceuticals and all this GMO shit, this is not good for you. And then in kind, when you breathe, which is 70% of your toxins are eliminated through breathing, 70%, right? The rest is through bowels and urine. And keep in mind, your urine is only 95% water. And the 5% waste is determining on what you eat anyway. You get what I'm saying? And when you look at urine is filtered blood, right? And what comes out of your urine, besides urea and whatever you want to look at, it's stem cells, certain electrolytes that come out of your urine, right? So if you really want to observe the fountain of youth, or what you really need outside of you or what you don't, you really don't need shit outside of you. What you need is certain hydration, such as like certain fruits you may eat from, like grapes or watermelon and whatnot. And then when you're able to balance the chemistry within you, you're actually able to access the fountain of youth. People say, I've been looking for the fountain of youth everywhere. I've been looking outside of myself. You'll never find nothing, because it's all within you already anyway. You're just looking in the wrong places, right? So when you look at your urine is the fountain of youth, right? So let's say, for example, you eat a certain way. When you go out in sunlight, these oils that come out, like if you're eating certain mangoes, like I said, certain fruits such as grapes, watermelons, and whatnot, this liquid is what comes out of your skin, right? And this is where it gives you a glow in the sunlight. You won't look fucking brown or anything like that. You'll look golden, like you're gonna look golden, right? And aside from that, these oils are actually the right oils you need to keep you looking young and vibrant, right? You don't want to put these moisturizers. This is why they say women tend to age or look apparently like they age faster than men, when, you know, men are supposed to be more like the workers, the more aggressive ones and whatnot, but women put makeup on. You get what I'm saying? Men don't. Men actually have their face breathing a lot more than a female does, right? When you put sunblock on, you're not allowing your skin to breathe. You know what I'm saying? And aside from that, you're also blocking the benefits of the sun, which is actually producing D3, which is a hormone, on your skin, right? So this is actually, if you look at your kidneys have something called the adrenal glands on top, and that's actually a superpower, right? When you have an adrenaline rush, don't you feel stronger, faster, more aggressive, more like you even feel more impervious to pain, right? When you have your adrenaline going, right? That means it's a steroid. Okay? And if you go back all the way to the pituitary gland, this is what governs those glands. The autonomic nervous system, again, the lymphatic system, I may have just mentioned that. But if you look at your skin is the third kidney, right? And what sits above is kind of like mimicking what you would have sitting on top of the kidneys, which is called the adrenal glands. So that's a steroid, right? What do you think you're producing? Hormones on the skin called D3. That's another steroid. You get what I'm saying? But if you're wearing this armor of God, this is a mental state as well. If you think you need things outside of you, or you start to look at things outside of you as above you, then you're looking at these things bigger than you. And then when you have certain things that appear to be harmful to you, like the sun, they can in fact harm you, because you are actually letting this pierce the armor of God. Because don't forget, the mind is all, the universe is mental. Your whole body is also you creating it mentally with your mind. The mind is a powerful tool, but it could also be used against you. Why do you think pharmaceuticals work? Placebo, nocebo effect, you know? But like I said, I have more information on this, and I'm going to make a part 2, because there's actually a couple of things that I wanted to tie into this video, but I'm going to keep this one at 20 minutes, and then I'll tie in a part 2, because I'm going to reveal some of the other secrets to keeping your skin looking young. So we'll talk soon.